Howdy y'all. Today we're doing a little something different. I'm gonna be going over a few map situations of a hunt I had this past weekend in the mountains where I was absolutely bulletproof. Deer on all sides, wind ended up being perfect, so let's get into it. Well, the wind was predicted to be bad, but I was able to capitalize on that dropping thermal to access this area, which is not the actual area I was hunting, but a piece of private that I hunt. Set my tree stand up right over the top of this saddle, and there was converging trails coming from all directions. I was hoping that once the wind switched to that southeast, which was predicted, that morning thermal would come up and it would create a thermal tunnel right at that area where there's some laurel and some steep bluffs. Sure enough, I wasn't in the stand for a couple minutes and some doe started coming in. A doe and 2 yearlings came in. I hung around for 16, 17 minutes circling my tree. Never spooked once. So the way this area sets up is that there are trails coming up from either sides and across that ridge towards that little micro saddle. And it is a great rut area in the past. And I was hoping to catch something a little bit early. This young yearling and her sister or brother stood within about 4 paces of the tree, stick bow range. There's a big laurel thicket on the northeast side, and oaks on the top that were dropping, red, white oaks on the ground. Oh golly, that was exciting. There was a family of does came in of nanny doe and 2 yearlings. And I think they got about 4 steps from my tree. Circled around twice. And then eased off. Kind of shivery. It always feels good when you do a new setup and then it works out and some animals come in. I mean, really, where I'm once again, I'm actually bear hunting, and I saw a deer. So, amen. Good Lord bless me with some animals. That's good. Makes it not a skunk. Having a good season at seeing things. Growing confidence a little bit. With the way I'm setting up, it sure is colder than I thought it was. I got gloves on. Old black O's. Hated that company, went out of business. But, you know, it's tough times right now. I'm trying to start my own thing. Right here. That's the leaf of a white oak. Quercus alba. With some topo lines of one of my favorite ridges to hunt. Killed a bear out there. Killed a buck out there over the last couple seasons. And no, I'm not gonna tell you where it is. But the squirrels are back out. I guess. Oh, here's a deer. Well, it wasn't a squirrel, it was a buck coming in on a trail where bucks come in to scent check does. Here he is, tiny little spike buck. He hit a licking branch and then walked along. I actually had 3 different bucks come in, seemingly stepping in exactly the same spot. After those dozies off, I gave a few hits on the grunt tube, which I don't do very often, and I think that these bucks may have heard that. Well, that was cool. I didn't record it on film, but I did a calling sequence. Just now my eyes are playing tricks on me. Anyway, I did a calling sequence like 5 to 7 minutes before I started doing that recording. And that little spike bug came in on me, hit a licking branch, and then sounds like he moved on. That was pretty cool. I never grunted in an animal before. About 5 or 6 or 7 minutes later, another buck strolled through exactly the same path. About a half hour later, things got different. Animals started coming from that southeast bottom. This buck came up through the saddle and then worked along the same trail as those other bucks, just in the opposite direction. He actually bedded up on a knoll outside of the map area here. He was followed by 2 does that came in and bedded 30 yards aside me and then eased off. And then another single doe came in and she bedded in the laurel. She bedded there for about 40 minutes before easing off. Generally, this area looks like it's going to be great for the rut. It's one of those quote-unquote Bobby Worthington areas where all the trails converge on this micro saddle. They're funneled through laurel, they're funneled through terrain, and that thermal tunnel on the back side, I think, created an area where does and bucks could scent check each other.